Hey guys, what's going on? This is Kyle at Projection Hub, and today we're going to be talking about how to write a business plan for a salon suite rental business. Now, this is not coming from the perspective of I want to be the stylist and rent a salon suite of my own, but rather to be the business owner who actually owns the salon suites that's renting them out to stylists as tenants. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you this free business plan template, which you can grab for free down in the description below, no strings attached. And I'm going to be going through this whole fictitious example of a business plan to show you the structure of the business plan. And then primarily my main goal is to show you the 5 key points that I think if you're trying to get approved for financing that are going to really make your business plan shine and increase the likelihood of you getting approved for that financing. So let me tell you a little bit about who we are so that you know who you're trusting before you watch this video. But at Projection Hub, we've helped more than 50,000 small businesses create financial projections for their businesses, including for loan applications, pitch decks, business plans, you name it. And that includes several hundred salon type of businesses, including salon suite renters, booth rent businesses. And my time before Projection Hub, I was an SBA lender. So I was a loan officer for an SBA lender, and I would help businesses review their loan applications and their packages. I would review their business plans, review their projections, including many salons while I was there. So I have some familiarity with that arena. And so again, in this video, I'm going to be going through and just showing you what I would do if I was opening this business to give myself the best shot possible to get approved for financing. So if at any point you like the content of this video, give it a thumbs up, maybe leave a comment on what you appreciated about the video. That really helps us as a fellow small business. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, not all of our content is about salon management or starting a salon, but we do release a lot of videos just around business management, financial management, tips and tricks that you might find useful. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So why is your business plan important? Now, probably sounds cliche, maybe obvious, but I just want to make sure we're on the same page. The purpose of your business plan is to not educate the lender or the person reading it on what the industry is or what the business does. That should be pretty clear unless it's a really novel concept. Now, the salon suite is a little bit of a different take than a salon business, but it's not a novel concept. It's more of a landlord-tenant type relationship, kind of in a niche industry, versus a reinvention, of the industry. And so we don't need our business plan to really do a lot of the educating. More so, we need our business plan to outline what does success look like for this business and what is our specific plan to reach those goals. And if we can convince the lender to have the confidence that we will likely be successful, that's how we get approved for our financing. And so we want to make sure we do that. And I'm going to hopefully tell you how to increase your chances for that. All right, so let's go ahead and start going through here. So first off, let's just take a look at our table of contents so you can see the general structure and the flow of our business plan. And the main things I want to point out here is one, you'll see that it's not very long, less than 20 pages long. And I want to kind of just maybe release you or liberate you from the myth that your business plan has to be long in order to be respected. That's just not true. When I was a lender, if someone brought me a business plan over 50 pages long, there was no way that whole thing was getting read. And so we would skim it, or we would focus on the projections section more. And so what that does is it spreads out all the important information across this business plan. And some of those details might get missed, which can either hurt your application chances or at the very least slow it down in the process as they collect information. And so trimming it down and making it more lean, it makes it jammed packed full of important information. So every page contains necessary information. It really strengthens your business plan and keeps the focus on the important details. And so, you don't want to get less than 5 pages or something, because then it's going to feel like you didn't really try a whole lot or you're missing some details. But you can keep it short. And then you'll also notice almost half this business plan is the financial projections. Now, we're a little biased, obviously, as Projection Hub, but I'm going to show you why when we get there. That's the case. So your business plan, the written component, we're looking at 9 pages here. That's not that crazy. It can be a little longer than that if you want it to be, but just to give you that kind of context. Okay, so getting into things here, and again, when I get to those 5 key points, I'll slow down and try to show a little bit more information around it. But first off, we've got the executive summary. I want you to think of this section as kind of like the cover letter to a resume for a job application. So, your lender's not going to make a decision based on this one page, but it might give them some initial important details that you want them to take away. So the overview of who you are, what you're trying to do. Again, objectives, short-term, long-term. You might want, if you know it, you might want to include some financial information. Here, you can see multiple locations is a key indicator. But if you have specific financial goals you want to hit, or in the short term, maybe that's a break-even point at a certain point, you can include that in there if you'd like. Mission statements and vision statements can tend to be a little fluffy. So I would say don't put like our goal is to change the world, because that's just a waste of space. But if you actually do have a really important mission statement in there, maybe that's hiring ex-convicts or something like that, that's really fundamental to the business, then include that. That's important information. Something that's not in here that some people do in their executive summaries is a little paragraph about the financial, details of the business. So maybe the startup costs, how much financing they're targeting, that kind of stuff could be included. Now, the company description is kind of just an extension of the executive summary, what we just talked about. But this is a little bit more about like the identity of the business. So think of company history more as like the founder story. Give a little bit of background as to like how this came about, who you are, why you're starting this business. And then the unique selling proposition and target market. So unique selling proposition, again, salons are not the most novel concept. There's other people doing it. So be sure to talk about what you're doing a little bit different that maybe gives you an edge. What's your secret sauce? In the salon suite space, maybe your unique selling proposition is you're going to offer the most attractive amenities and favorable rates to the best stylists in town, right? Versus you're not catering as much to the person who's choosing where to get their hair done, but you're trying to cater more towards the stylists themselves. It's a little bit of both, but you get my point. Again, target market, you're going to be outlining that, but here we're targeting in beauty professionals, and that's really our customer. Okay, so now moving along to market analysis. This is going to be our first of 5 key points at the end of this section. First, I just want to highlight, think about the market analysis not as like the Shark Tank of like, the beauty industry is a $1 trillion industry. Like that feels so out of touch, it doesn't really help us. So we're really focused on the local market, the addressable market for us. So again, we're looking at this through the perspective of we're kind of like the landlord and our customer is stylists trying to get them to rent from us. And so our direct competitors are people who are using that similar model or hiring those stylists that we really want in our space. So that might be the typical salon that has employees, and that might be the competitor because they're taking them away from you. But I would say that's more of an indirect competitor, whereas the direct competitor is probably going to be if you know a salon suite that's operating in your area that's also attracting stylists, that's more of a direct competitor. So again, talk a little bit more about your target market opportunity. So if there's not a salon suite maybe in your town, then that's a great opportunity. Maybe there's a really powerful, it's a bad way to say that. Maybe there's a really dominant salon in the area that's really large. And because they don't have a ton of competition, maybe it's less favorable rates for favorable structure for the stylists, right? So a market opportunity might be giving me a chance to liberate some of those stylists who have really strong ambitions and are entrepreneurial and want to build their own thing, to attract them to that, right? That could be a market opportunity. Let's see here. Okay, so key point number 1, all of these things I talked about was helpful. You want to fill this out, this information. Don't skip over that, glaze over that. But the best, the key point here is the more specific example to demonstrate that there's actually room in the market for the business is great. Now, again, if this was a normal salon, that's a little bit easier to do. It's a little trickier to show you free tools on the rental side because there's just less knowledge around it, right? So for example, here's Google AdWords keyword search tool or keyword planner tool. This is a free tool. You can make a Google Ads account for free. And I just am searching in Indianapolis, Indiana, phrases like salon suites for rent, salon rental, independent salon space. And this is going to represent how often those phrases are searched in Indianapolis every single month. This tool does a few interesting things. It'll show me some related keyword ideas, how often it's searched, and then the trend rate of that. Okay, so I would say the trend is so we want to see some search volume. We see some search volume, that's great. It's not a ton, but it is some, that's great. More important to me is the trend data. So we can see we've got some search data on booth rental. So, that's a little bit different than suite rental, but I would say a similar ballpark. And salon space for rent, private salon suites for rent. So there's definitely stuff for booth rent, which I think that's still a target audience. Maybe someone who's just wanting one chair inside of a salon versus their own dedicated space. But this is just a tool to help you visualize that trend data if there's some demand in your area. But again, that can be a little tricky in this space just because not everybody knows that they're looking for a salon suite rental. So my encouragement to you is to try and provide whatever type of research that you can, that you have confidence that there is actually a demand for salon suites in your target area, versus just saying, I'm going to build it and people will come. And if you could use a tool like this to demonstrate it, that could be really helpful. Okay, moving along, marketing and sales strategy. This is kind of straightforward. What exactly are you offering? What pricing or what's your arrangement going to be with your renters? How are you actually going to reach those stylists and get in front of them? Are you going to have a website? Are you going to, what are the different approaches you're going to take? But the key point here is what I would call traction or customer acquisition demonstration. And this is really just a chance to make your business plan shine and go the extra mile. Like as a lender, when I saw things like this, it really made me confident in trying to get that loan approved. And that is anything we can put in the business plan that demonstrates that I'm not just waiting until I get my loan approved and then I'm going to start trying to do stuff, but instead I'm already doing things, building momentum, so that when the day comes that I can open up, I'm like, boom, ready to go. We've already got things lined up. So let's do example 3. I think is a great example. Build a list of interested stylists who are interested in leaving their salon employment to operate in their own space and likely bring their own clients with them. This ensures rent income. So this is a thing you can do before you're even open, right? You can start, if you're opening a salon suite, you probably have connections in the salon to the industry and different stylists. So begin having conversations, start getting interest, start identifying the ambitious stylists who have a good stream of clients that would likely follow them to a different space, because that's what it's going to take for someone to probably feel confident to do it on their own. When you can start to let them know, like, hey, when you're an employee here, there's a max to what you can earn. When you operate your own space, you keep everything. You just pay some rent. So you can start forming relationships, identifying those stylists, collect a list of those who would be interested, and say, hey, when I get this space open, would you be interested in having one of the slots? Get some people interested, get some yeses, so that you can say to your lender, like, hey, I've already got 12 stylists interested in renting a suite from me. That's really great. Versus just saying like, I'll go out and find them after I get funding. This really makes the first few months maximized. So that's my recommendation there. Moving along, your operations and management. Now, most general in a salon suite type business, you're probably not going to have a full staff or a full team. It's probably going to look, again, like a little bit more like a rental relationship, landlord relationship. So you might just be managing it all on your own. And so you might not need to have overly complicated systems or processes. So just outline what your business is going to look like. Where your suite's going to be? How are you going to manage them? Are you using any technology to do that kind of thing? How are you going to make sure they're, how are you going to make sure they are well equipped, updated, setting your stylists up for success? The key point of this section that I want to take away is relevant industry experience. So there's a few different things. There's a few different types of experience that would probably be valuable in this type of business, this type of industry. Maybe having experience in a property management space, rental space, that's a unique experience, helpful experience. Sales experience is probably really helpful, but also having experience in the salon industry. Do you have contacts that are stylists? Do you know how to get in touch with stylists? You know what kind of pain points they have and things to be able to offer them. So you want to demonstrate that you actually know what you're getting yourself into, and you know how to do it, right? That's the kind of assurance you want to give to a lender, is that you know what you're talking about, you know what you're getting yourself into. And if you don't have all of the necessary experience, maybe there's a gap, then how are you supplementing that, right? Either be prepared to defend yourself as to why you don't need that or how you're going to learn that, or have a partner, have an advisory board, have a mentor, have a key employee that can fill that gap for you and quell any fears that your lender might have. Okay, so that's key point number 3. Now, the big section, financial projections, we are going to have here included our startup costs. We've got a little breakdown overview of our revenue, just our income projections, gross profit, net income estimated, how many suite renters are we going to have, some key financial ratios, a breakdown of our monthly operating expenses. And then we have a 5-year income statement projections or profit and loss, cash flow statement, balance sheet, and then we've got a little sale or like income growth, and then break even analysis, or when we're going to be positive cash flow. Now, this is a point a lot of times where business owners or founders start to like get overwhelmed or don't take it super seriously, or maybe the projections are an afterthought. But I would encourage you to change that mindset. They're very important, and mainly what your lender is going to focus on the most. So all of these charts and graphs here were made using this template. So this is a little bit of a commercial. It's probably unlikely you're going to be able to know how to create the projections totally on your own. So a lot of people will pay an accountant to do it, which can be really expensive, several $1,000s worth of expense. This template was built so that you can generate your own set of financial projections completely on your own. This was built by a CPA, by an accountant, with the intentions of making it easy to do. So it might look overwhelming. I'm just going to show you really quick that it's not overwhelming. You're only editing these blue tabs, and we're only editing the spaces that are blue. And you're only editing numbers that you already know about your business, right? These are the assets that need to be purchased. Are you going to have an investor? You're going to get an SBA loan. This down here does a little cash check to make sure you have enough cash based on your projections. Here you're going to put in, you're estimating when you're going to get a renter, when they're going to start, how much are they going to pay per month, what is their rent going to be. Pretty easy details to include. Here's a little helpful calculator for your monthly rent, right? So like this looks like a lot of information, but you're only editing these blue sections. Are you going to sell hair care products inside these salon suites, right? You can account for that as well. Then in your monthly operating expenses, right? You'll put them in here. They can be fixed, they can be variable, they can be a percentage of revenue. You can customize all of these, but we've already got some in here to help you get started. And then are you going to have any salaried employees? So in this, again, you're probably doing a lot on your own. And then in this example, we only have a receptionist. So it's really a two-person business. And then the template's going to generate all of the charts, financial statements that your lender needs to make, their lending decision. And then you can use this as kind of your financial roadmap. So that's a quick plug. I'll put a link to that down in the description below. If you stick around at the end of the video, I'll give you a promo code to get 20% off that template as well. It's already less than $100. So I'm telling you what, it's a great bang for the buck. Free support included. And when you're done, we offer complimentary review. An expert on our team will review your projections and give you feedback just with a video like this. So it's really a great value. And so key point number 4 is not to have financial projections. That's a minimum requirement. You have to have financial projections. Key point number 4 is, are they realistic and within kind of industry norms? Now, again, salon suite is kind of a niche version of salon ownership in general. So it might be kind of hard to find specific ranges. We're going to be thinking about this more as like a landlord or property rental type hat. But what I would do is I would just go to Google and just start doing some research and some searching. If you're familiar with and comfortable with tools like ChatGPT or an AI search bot, that's a great shortcut. I just had it give me some typical key financial averages for salon suite rental business. I can see things like gross profit margin, right? 60 to 80%. Let's go and check our projections. Gross profit, 70%, 75%, 75%. So we're right there within that range, okay? Now you can do that for any number in your projections. And I would encourage you to do that as much as possible, because that's going to make sure you don't get laughed out of the room, by your lender. Is they're going to, if you go the extra mile, fill out your projections with what you think will make most sense, but then double check that with industry numbers you can find. That's going to make them feel really realistic and give you the confidence you need to know that like you're actually living in reality when you go to open up this business. All right, now moving forward, that's going to bring us to the end of our projections, but there's one more key point. And that key point is specifically if you're getting financing, which I'm assuming you likely are, and that's being prepared to demonstrate skin in the game for your financing. Now, you likely know what that means, but just in case you don't, think about it as if like you're buying a house and you're getting a mortgage for that house. The lender's not going to give you 100% of the funds needed to buy that house. They're going to require you to put a down payment in, or, have an investment in that as well, maybe 10%, 20%. So you're putting in money. You're also giving a personal guarantee. So if you don't pay back, the loan, you're gonna lose that house, and you're gonna be on the hook for paying that debt back unless you go through bankruptcy or something like that. And you're also providing collateral with the house itself. Business loan is very similar. Now, when I was a lender, a lot of times people would tell me that they received the advice to keep personal and business separate. That's great advice when it comes to bank accounts, bookkeeping, that kind of thing. It's very unrealistic advice when it comes to getting a loan. If you are the business owner, you're going to have to put in an investment So some cash, whether that's your money or someone else's money, you're gonna have to put money in. You are going to have to personally guarantee the loan. So if the business fails to pay the loan, the lender is going to expect you to pay it personally, again, unless you go through some sort of bankruptcy proceeding. And you're going to have to collateralize the loan. So if you're buying the property, your collateral is going to be the buildings themselves. If you're renting and then subletting those out to your stylists, you're probably going to have a collateral shortfall because the equipment in those salons probably won't make up the difference. So that means you need to be prepared to make up the difference in that collateral shortfall. Typically, that's going to be a personal asset. Maybe it's a cosigner. Maybe it's a second mortgage on a house. So not a super fun conversation, just telling you, be prepared to know what you have available and how much you're willing to contribute to get the funding that you need. You don't have to put that on your business plan and say, this is what I'm willing to give you. Just know what you have available and be prepared to have that conversation. So again, this free business plan linked in the description below. The projection templates linked down below. Let me grab you that discount code. PH20BP will get you 20% off. Again, we've got the video walkthrough here if you want to watch a whole walkthrough on how to fill that out. Contact us at support@projectionhub.com if you have any questions about the template. And like the video, give us a comment if you appreciated it. Subscribe to the channel if you'd like to, and we will catch you on the next one. Thanks.